My name is Thom Jackson-Wood, and I'm based in a town in Hertfordshire. It's just about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes out of London. It's called Ware. So, ironically, when Theresa May said you're either a citizen of here or a citizen of nowhere, I was already a citizen of Ware. I just needed to add the no to it. But yeah, this has been a very strange night. Yeah, I'm happy to go next if people are up for it. Yes, okay. Cool. So basically, a little bit about me. I'm a filmmaker, and I'm also an unusual mix of perspectives. And yeah, there's even before Brexit, I was feeling very in terms of the way that my rights and the benefits I had as a disabled person in this country were being stripped away. And then Brexit happened, which was effectively the same thing happening again, but on a much greater magnitude. And I was reflecting on this about maybe 6 months ago. And literally the first general election I could vote in was in 2010. And I'm not a conservative. And literally every single election I have been represented, both on the local level and the global level. And so I feel incredibly shut off and isolated from my own country. And I really do worry now what happens next. A little bit about me in terms of how I got involved in Europe and Europeans. While at university, I was mindful that there was a story going on in Europe that people in the UK didn't hear much about. This was back in like 2011, 2012. And so I got involved with a group called Young European Movement UK, which is the junior branch of the European Movement UK. And through Young European Movement, I was able to travel to many other places in Europe that I wouldn't have been able to go by myself, partly due to the access reasons and partly due to the cost reasons. And it meant that I was able to go to places in Germany, in Hungary, and Norway, 3 countries that I'd never been to or had been to once in a German exchange, in the case of Germany. But that was when I was at school. And that was really it. But from that, it planted the seed. And even to this day, when I've been abroad in Europe, in other parts of Europe, when I haven't done on a seminar trip, I've always felt going there with a purpose and actually being able to explore it on a much deeper level, rather than just going to the beach and lying on a beach towel for a week, which there's nothing wrong with that. But there's more to it than that. And that's what Young European Movement allowed me to do. So, when I think a lot of, hang on. Yeah, so that's kind of my background. And from there, what happened was that I was busy making a film, but it was taking a long time to make. And it wasn't about Brexit, but Brexit was really weighing down on the back of my mind because of this. And in particular, I was worried about what Brexit would mean for the Good Friday Agreement in Northern Ireland. Because I'd studied the history of Northern Ireland at university, at school in A levels, and I was mindful of what happened with the Troubles, the sectarian violence, and the fear and distrust and uncertainty, and that had been, if not brought to a close, but had definitely been reached. A historic peace treaty had been reached between the governments of the UK and the Republic of Ireland in 1998, called the Good Friday Agreement, or the Belfast Agreement. And in 2018, there was the talk about the DUP being in a confidence and supply agreement with Theresa May and the government. But even then, there was very little news about what Brexit would do to the Good Friday Agreement in Northern Ireland and potential knock-on effects. And this is where I spoke to new Europeans, because in August 2018, I came up with this idea to crowdfund a short documentary film, that I managed to get interest from the very well-known campaigner Madeleine Kay, known as the EU Supergirl. And I thought, yes, I think we could make something of this, because this is a big issue. But if we can find a way to explore these issues and tell it in a way which is interesting, informative, and entertaining, where people can learn something, but it's not dull. And then I went to Northern Ireland in August 2018. And bear in mind, number one, I'm in a wheelchair. Number two, I'd never been to Northern Ireland before. Number three, I've got filming equipment with me, and I was filming stuff. And it was really an initial recce, look around, get an idea of the feeling of Belfast and what had happened. And while I was there, I managed to get in touch online with Roger Gazal of New Europeans. And from him, he put me in touch with Eileen Chan-Hu, who is if I get this correct, she is one of the trustees of New Europeans Ireland, and she is an amazing person in terms of working within Northern Ireland civil society, because this was, because of historical reasons and differences, the civil society of Northern Ireland is still quite fractured along British identity lines, whether people see themselves as Irish or British or Unionists, as in Northern Ireland remain with the UK, or nationalists in the sense that they reunite with the Republic of Ireland. And really, it was a sense of 2018 was coming up. It was the 20th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement in 1998, and nobody, at least in mainland Britain, was making really any news about it. And this was, bear in mind, the most important peace treaty in British history in recent years, at least. And people just took it for granted. And that isn't even to do with Europe or Brexit, but it was then I realized that how little so many people in Britain know of their own history, both the good and the bad parts of it. And while making this documentary, I was very keen to reach out to people from all different sides within Northern Ireland. And through New Europeans, I happened to meet Eileen Chan-Hu and Jane Morris, and also Conor McArdle, who was Deputy Coordinator for New Europeans Ireland. And being able to meet with them was really exciting. And through Eileen as well, I was able to meet an amazing woman called Linda Irvine, who is teaching what should we say, is she's providing a way for Unionists in Northern Ireland to learn the Irish language if they want to, in a way which detaches it from Irish republicanism. Because in Ireland and Northern Ireland, the Irish language has been traditionally associated with Irish republicanism. This is due to the 1916 Easter Rising, and when the Republic of Ireland became independent from the UK in 1922, that was when the border went up. The Irish Free State moved heavily to a policy of the Irish language as a way of putting difference between them and the United Kingdom. So Northern Ireland, which is still part of the UK, but a large fraction of the population of Northern Ireland would like to be in the Republic of Ireland. This is pre-Brexit. And Brexit has only entrenched those divisions further. But what Linda was doing is finding a way to kind of bridge that divide between the language and identifying as an Irish national rather than as a British national. The fact is that identity in Northern Ireland is still quite a touchy subject, and Brexit again has just opened a can of worms again. So that again was, to me, a really fascinating piece of history which nobody knew about. So I went out and made it and interviewed Linda and Connor and Jane, and also a man called Brian Maguire, who is a journalist based in Brussels, but he is from Belfast, but identifies as an Irish national. Again, this shows you how complicated layers of identity can be in Northern Ireland, but also is quite similar to perhaps the way how in the UK people can feel British, European, English, or not, or European and Scottish, but not British, or European Welsh and maybe British, but not. So it's a real complex structure. And this is really what is happening with Brexit. I come to realize that in a way, the EU was like a force of stability which held the different peoples within the UK together. And I think the first trend that we saw was in 2014 with the Scottish independence vote. And one of the criteria that was on the Better Together campaign for Scotland to remain part of the UK is the United Kingdom would remain an international power and part of the European Union. 2 years later, the UK changed its mind. And the Scots are not happy because that was not what they were promised in the 2014 referendum. So again, I'm seeing, at least in the 2010s, the EU was actually one of the, think of it as the glue which was holding the UK together and also keeping the peace in Northern Ireland and keeping good relationships with the South. So this was really stuff that I felt people weren't hearing about. So I went out and made this film. And then that was one part of it. The other component then, because of the urgency around it, there was in December 2018, there was a big anti-Brexit campaign run by EU Flag Mafia. Now, EU Flag Mafia are a very ardent pro-European pressure group, but unlike New Europeans, the new EU Flag Mafia is more about street action in peaceful ways, but about being, these are the people who hang out off European flags off bridges. They organised the EU Proms in the Park flag handouts. And in December 2018, they organised and crowdfunded and ran the Bollocks to Brexit bus tour. The Bollocks to Brexit campaign was a very effective sticker campaign, which effectively called out Brexit for being a lot of nonsense. Because if we look at what was being promised in the 2016 referendum, the Brexit that was promised, and then look at the Brexit now we have, there is a huge difference. And up until now, it's been abstract. People are only just beginning to realize the knock-on effects of what Brexit will actually mean. And the coronavirus, in a way, has almost pushed this, almost like pushed the Brexit question into another situation. You know, so to wrap it up quickly, final point is that we finished the film. I went on a big bus across the UK, Ireland, and Belgium, filmed Jane, Brian, Linda, and Connor, and Madeleine Kay, and Phobo Joe, Drew Galdron, fantastic performer. We put that all into a film with the help of my amazing friend Spike O'Hanlon, and we were able to get it into the European Short Film Festival, which is based in Berlin, Germany, but because of COVID was happening online, and we were able to win Best Documentary and an Audience Award. And that has really been my hope, is that the work I'm doing will help lay the groundwork for the future.